The transition into remote learning can be tough. And we've had an episode before on remote teaching strategies, but now we are really in it. And we're going to talk about our firsthand experiences this far along in the year about remote teaching, what has worked well for us, and how we can also be innovative inside of this new type of classroom. Also, if you're already loving our podcast, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. This helps spread the word to other innovative teachers who would love to connect to our community. Stay tuned for another great episode full of useful information. We can't wait to learn and grow with you.
All right, we can get started with this episode. We're excited because, like Naomi said in the intro, we've kind of done an episode kind of close to this, but now we're in it. We are in the situation that we kind of feared, or not necessarily feared, but thought maybe would happen. And now we're living this situation out. So, as teachers, we got to think, well, a lot of schools are changing to remote learning. How can we make that transition smooth? And what can we do? Tips, tricks, and all that great kind of stuff, I would say.
Yeah.
How has your experience been so far, would you say?
It's actually been fine. I think I told you this another time, but my favorite part about it, and you can have favorites, but I love seeing their cute little faces without their masks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love being able to see their smile. Today, I saw a kid who didn't have her front teeth, and I had no idea. I was like, oh, you lost your front teeth. It's been fine. My first day of teaching us STEM specials, it didn't go well. It really did not go well. But it works out after that. It's been actually kind of fun. It's just different.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times too, when we try new things and they don't go well, it's like, well, we can scrap that and try something else. Or sometimes they're just excited and all that kind of great stuff. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. And I want to start off by just saying, teachers are awesome. Thank you guys so much. I mean, our audience is teachers. We're teachers,
Yes.
but thank you guys so much for the time and the effort you put forth. I know it's not easy. It's a lot of work, and you're underappreciated. I can guarantee that if you're listening to this, you are. And if you're listening to this, we know you're going above and beyond because you're being innovative.
Yeah.
So we're here to help with that too. So, um, we're going to kind of talk about those different things. And I'm just going to kind of basically tell you kind of what's been working for me so far. So I've been doing some STEM choice boards, that I released, last week. And I did that the last week and a half. And the kids really like that because it gives them some choice and voice. I think it's cool because each of them have like a video and they're all learning different science concepts, whether they're, maybe new to them or refreshers. It's just good for them to kind of get that, their brains turning and working still like they normally would with me. And that's kind of what's been, I would say, working for me. I also have been doing like task cards. I'll just like pull one, like my Lego task cards today, right before this, actually. I had 3 meetings with kids where I was like, hey, get Legos. If you don't have Legos, get whatever you have at home, whether it's paper, whatever. And I'm thinking about even doing maybe some origami ones. One of the kids asked if we
Ooh,
could do like an origami session. I thought that'd be kind of cool.
I think they'd like that.
Yeah, so that'd be something kind of cool, I think. And we can talk about like the history of that and do some stuff like that. So I think, those are the kinds of things that are working for me, but I also like to try different things with the kids. And I feel like, I'm doing all these things, but really what's working for me is doing quick activities and doing something different that's shaking it up. Because a lot of the classrooms, they're having the same meeting every day, same time every day, same thing. So I like to kind of keep it, fun. And it's like you said the other day, Naomi, we're like the cool aunt and
Aunts and
uncles.
uncles.
Yeah. So that's why when I was like, I heard that, I was like, that's perfect because that's kind of the way I'm approaching this remote learning time. And I want to make it fun, and there's one kid that's like, well, I couldn't figure out how to fill out the worksheet. And I just wrote things down and he sent me a picture. And I said, you know what? That's fine. I was like, we got to give some grace during this time and we got to work together. So that's what I'm saying, at least as far as what's been going on.
How did you share the choice board? Like, what grade did you do that with them? Because you said you had links. How did you share that with them?
So I did Google Classroom and I shared it like as like a Google slide. And then they can edit because I did like a copy, which I'm kind of baffled at how many people didn't know that was an option. So when you go to upload something on Google Classroom, there's a little section by your upload, and either students can view it or they can edit it all as one or like all together, which is mass chaos, or it makes a copy for each of them Google. So I'm have them each get a copy, and they can edit. it that way. And then when I do like a Zoom, I'll do like a 5 or 10 minute Zoom the first day, just being like, hey, here's your project. I'm going to stay in this classroom and you go out and you can work and come back if you have questions. So kids are coming like in and out, kind of like they would in my classroom. Like I'll teach quickly, they'll build, and then I'll come back and we'll kind of go back and forth like that.
Oh, that's
And
perfect. Oh, that's
yeah, it
cool.
works. So it's like they would in my class because it's like hands on, because it's like I don't want you to have to sit here and listen to me for an hour. You did that with your classroom teacher, an hour ago, and I don't want you to keep on sitting by a computer screen not doing anything. That's not what I'm about. So that's the way I've kind of seen it. I think something too that I kind of noticed, and you probably kind of even notice this too, Naomi, like stepping back from your normal projects and thinking of a simpler way to do that project,
Yep.
but still being content driven. So like the choice boards,
Mhm.
one of the choices is you have to fling something that goes across the room. Well, that has to deal with energy. They watch a video about energy. Well, they learned about energy maybe a month ago, but that's a good refresher. It's still content driven. It's still in their head. And maybe they're taking away elastic energy rather than potential or kinetic. So I think the content's still there, but it's
Yep.
taking a step back and peeling back those layers and saying what's important to me during this time and what am I trying to get across to my students that I want them to learn as a result of this.
Mhm.
And I think like for me, it's the choice board is an example of choice just because it's worked so well so far. And like I said, it gives kids a lot of freedom. The only problem I've had is like, those poor kids that their parents haven't dealt with technology in a very, very,
Mm.
very long time. And they're like,
Yeah.
they don't even know how to turn it on kind of
Yes.
thing. And a lot of times I'll be like, just give me a phone call. And I just try to be open to situations. And that's another thing too, as far as tips and tricks, is just making yourself like available to those kind of people. Cause those are the people that usually are going to call your administrative upset and using some colorful language rather than
We
anything.
had that too, and we sent home a bunch of devices. So they're ones that we have at school. So one thing, I guess if you're still in person or even if you're remote, if you know those devices well, and if you know for the most part what devices your kids are using, I have little troubleshooting guides with screenshots. And so when I get parent emails, usually I have the solution on a page. So I'll send them the picture of
Ooh, I
the
love that.
step-by-step directions, or I've made videos. So if you guys haven't heard of Screencastify, there's lots of other screen recording apps. But if I know Spencer does a lot of screen
I
recording
do.
too, but if you can make like a quick 2 minute, 3 minute tutorial video and you can send it out to families, like as a whole class or individually, that has helped and cut back on emails and the correspondence time. So as visual as you can make it for kids and parents, it helps a lot.
Right. Yeah, and I think that kind of stuff too, like you said, you know, now doing it now is going to be a little stressful, but if you can do it, do it. But like we were talking, when things kind of got a little bit better, I remember you were saying, "Oh, I'm going to work on getting this ready and this ready." And I think having those things ready for like remote learning, like there's little things that you could be getting ready
Yeah.
now if your school isn't remote and you think it's going to happen. And
Mhm.
that's what I've been kind of like working like just a little bit each time. That way, when it was announced for us last Friday, I was like, "Oh, I'm ready. Like I already have something ready. I don't have to necessarily go out of my way to destroy my plans and do something completely different. I already had ideas in place. I already had, my plan as far as what I was going to do. So it's kind of like when you're growing up and your parents, I remember we used to have a firehouse. Did you have that growing up? Maybe that's like an Indiana thing.
Have you had a firehouse?
Well, like we would have to go visit a firehouse at school, and then they would send a paper home. We were supposed to give it to our parents, and you come up with like a fire plan in case your
Oh
house on.
yeah, we
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
always called it when we visited the place, it was called the firehouse because it was like a fake fire and you would do like a test and your family. So like it's kind of like that. You need to have a plan like that that's thought out that's saying, hey, well, we don't want this to happen and this might not happen in our community or it might. How can we have a plan ready for that?
Oh, definitely. And part of
Mhm.
my role, because I teach STEM, you guys know that, but I also co-teach with teachers and do technology management the other part of the week. Not busy, but one thing that we did with the tech committee that I run is we created a sample letter that we could email home to parents. So it told parents how to log in to certain portals. I made the printable and also the video link, and I made it K through 2, 3 through 5. So it was an email template already created because we did actually have some classes go into quarantine before our whole school did. So you might want to think about that too. We also, some of my teammates, they don't teach STEM, but they're a specials teacher. And you could even think about this as a classroom teacher, is they have prepped like a week's worth of sub plans. Because if you do have to be sent home, if you're in close contact or it's just last second, at least you have sub plans prepared for the whole week. So I thought that was a smart idea. I did not do that. And thank goodness I didn't need them. But I thought that was a really, really good idea just to have emergency sub plans all done, all prepped. Um, Also in that preparation mode, you can practice using the platform like Zoom or Microsoft Teams, Google Hangouts. You can practice in class. So how we did it is I went into each classroom and we did a whole group lesson. And so I had little icons, which these are free in my store. They're for Microsoft Teams, but most of the icons are universal. But we did a whole group lesson. So I talked to the kids about like video etiquette, how you want to have a good workspace set up, whether it's a table, a little desk in your room, not laying down in your bed, hiding behind the table. We don't hide in class. So you want to make sure your camera's on if possible and have your microphone off. You have it muted. If your platform has like a little raise the hand button or little reactions, we talked about that also. And then we actually practiced. So I sent them a meeting and then we interacted with the platform. So if they had questions, I could help them right there. And going from there, I would suggest keep practicing. Don't do that one time thing. I know a teacher that she did her small groups every day since August using one of the video platforms. So she had the kids sitting in front of her and then she sat at her small group table and then it helped her actually know how to teach a lesson. So I tried that as well. So you can definitely practice with kids. You can practice if you teach STEM as well. And then we also had as a homework assignment for kids to log in at home using these platforms and they had a sample assignment they had to try at home for the week.
I
So these
like that.
are, yeah, so
That
and
gets
then
good prep
parents,
right there.
yes, and parents had a lot of questions then, which is good because it's a
Mhm.
less stressful situation. We weren't
Situation,
remote.
yeah, because
Yeah.
then they can come into class and ask you too, rather than like in the scenario now, they
Yes.
can probably only email or set up a Zoom meeting.
Yeah. And we could test their device to see if they needed a school one. So there, if you do have that capability to practice, it's super helpful. Now I am remote. So I did teach some classes today, K through 2. And like I said, I love seeing their faces. They were cracking me up. But definitely having those like short little things, like the little commercial breaks that we talked about. Like kindergarten, I did 3 different things today. And similar to like your choice board, I did my engineer inspiration board. So
Mm.
I had them come in. I reminded them. I had a little slide like, make sure you mute, have your camera on, go get something to build with. I sent an email, but if you didn't go get if you didn't go get something, but we did 3 different things and they were building and we did some sharing time, which is super cute. And then we switched it up. Really great. Digital Citizenship Week was a couple weeks ago, and Common Sense Media, they have updated their curriculum this year and last year, especially for the little kids. So if you are like really don't know where to start, digital citizenship is very relevant, especially now
Mhm.
since we're
Big.
online.
Yeah.
So I have a whole story about that. That could be another episode about digital citizenship, what happened. But they have great videos and discussion questions, and the kids can print the activity or you can have them write on a piece of paper.
Is that free?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
always a big one for me. Is it free?
Yes.
Okay, I
It's,
thought it was, but
I
I want to make
always,
sure.
oh, it's so good. And the little kid ones, they have these songs and these little characters and they start dancing and I start singing it because I've heard it like 50 times. They're really cute.
Well, I think too, like that's a good time to do remote learning. That way, when you're in person, you can do the more like content driven, like computer. You know what I mean? That's
Yep.
something they can do at home comfortably, and it makes sense to them.
Oh yeah, and it was great. We did some STEM and then like we're switching up. Now we're going to do some digital citizenship. And with the little kids, the parents are like off screen. They're
Oh yeah.
listening, which
Mm-hmm.
this is amazing because parents can hear the language that you're using, whether it's the STEM language. They don't get to come to specials with them or they don't see that. So it's good for
Right.
parents to hear the language that you're using. The older kids actually did Pear Deck and Kahoot. So we shared the link in the chat, and the kids did great navigating and being able to interact that way. They were able to do 2 tabs. So that was super fun.
That
And
is awesome.
yeah, they liked it. It was really cute. And then I actually had a guest speaker come to my class.
What
It
for?
she oh my gosh, she was amazing. She was a senior in high school. She's a great teacher, but she did a whole project about electronic recycling, and
Oh,
had a
nice.
whole lesson. She had visited an electronic recycling plant, had a video for the kids, played a game with them. Like she showed them pictures of electronics and it asked them if they could be recycled or not. We did the Kahoot.
Hmm.
But the kids were really excited because they like me. I mean, they do, but it's nice to hear someone else
Else,
as
yeah.
well. And she was amazing. So I told her I need you to come back. You're great. But think about guest speakers too. That could mix it up
Hmm.
in their day.
All right. I
Yeah.
like that. And I think that's cool too. And the kids would really, really like something like that where it's, something different than what they're used to. And especially when it's like the Zooms over and over again,
Yep.
that just changes up even more because they'll probably come in and be like, who is this? They usually
Yeah.
know those kind of things. Because like even today, my meeting, I had it with the fourth graders and one of the teachers here, his daughter's in fourth grade. So I had her come and build with me and they're like, oh, she's there. That's so cool. I was like, yeah, she's building in STEM just like you guys were a couple weeks ago before we had to go
Aw.
home. So they thought for sure. Um, as far as resources too, we were kind of talking earlier, me and Naomi, like this is like out of all times you've ever needed resources, this is the time that you need them the most because, well, you're asked to do a lot and way more than you were before, like I said earlier. So obviously the first great resource is our podcast. If you haven't checked out those other episodes, this would be a great time to do so. When you're sitting in at work, working, just kind of listen to us in the background or whenever you can. And then our Facebook page too, which we're doing more and more things with, and we're trying to always reach out to the people in our group and say, hey, how can we, improve this group to help you guys more and to make it a place really where you come to get answers and ask questions and build community. So that one means a lot to Naomi and I know, and we're always talking about ways we can add value to our Facebook for sure. And then resources on TPT. I mean, obviously you guys know that me and Naomi have TPTs, but get those resources, especially those digital ones. Those ones are going to be big. And right now too, I saw a couple of teachers from my building do it, and in the area, they're just asking for donations from the community on their Facebook. They post a link and say like, hey, you can donate to my classroom to kind of help me buy these things because it does add up.
Yeah.
So share out those links because if you have an account, I'm pretty sure TPT gives you like a link that you can share out and then people can donate to you.
Yes, they do. They
So,
have like it's almost like a donor's choose for
mhm.
TPT.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good way to put it because everyone knows what donors chooses. That way, if there was something you wanted to buy on one of our stores or someone else's, and you said, "Well, this is really going to help my classroom and save me time," you can get those things. And I know a lot of parents right now they feel for teachers and they know how busy we are, so they're going to be more willing to help for sure. Our Patreon group each month we're releasing multiple items. And I want to, we always talk about this because we want to make it super clear. This group was created so that we could give you resources. So
Yes.
each month you're getting more and more resources. And if you subscribe to this point, you would get like, what would it be? Two
3
times,
months.
yeah, 3 months and two each month. So six, you get six
Yeah.
resources for $5.
Yeah, you get everything from the past
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. And that's something we don't talk about very much. And we should because, that adds up every month. You're going back and getting all those awesome tiers that we have available. So check that out also. And then something coming up that's going to be really cool that me and Naomi both got to be asked to do. And we both said yes, was 25 days of making.
We're
Uh,
not doing 25
we're
days.
not doing, yeah, we're each doing a day, but with other awesome teachers that love to make. I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head,
I
which
think
is,
Aaron
yeah,
M.
yeah, he's really big on Twitter. And he reached out to me on Twitter and I said, hey, me and Naomi would love to do something like that. And he said, we would love to have you guys. And so we're excited to do that. So definitely start checking that out. And we'll even link that website down below. It won't be live though until November 22nd, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
So once that gets live, once that's, able to be live, you can look at that daily and see like, hey, today I could build this with my kids, or you could even save them for later. So that is kind of what I thought as far as resources. Is there any other resources there that I'm forgetting, you think, Naomi?
I don't know. You guys can always DM and ask us,
Yes.
especially in that Facebook group. Like we both are active in there, and we love chatting back for you guys. Like people will post like, "Hey, what would you guys do for that?" And we're welcome to collaborate with you. So if we
Yes.
forget, definitely DM us or ask us in that Facebook group, because we're really open and we love connecting with you all.
Yeah, I love when people like reach out to me like that. That's one of my favorite things for sure.
Me too. I know it's like our PLN, right? Professional Learning Network.
Yes. Yeah, man.
I think
We need
that's
to even
what
put that. Yeah, I like that.
I think it's actually a name. I
Is
didn't
it?
make this up.
Okay. I thought maybe I never heard that. So I was like, man, that's cool.
It's a
Yeah. So we loved creating this episode for you guys. We hope that these tips, tricks, and kind of what we're doing in our classroom remotely helps bring your classroom, even when it's virtual or in person right now, forward. So make sure you follow us on all major platforms, as we will continue to kind of update you guys as far as what we look like in our classrooms, remote, hybrid, or whatever our futures might hold at this point. Make sure you subscribe to us on all major platforms. Check out our Patreon, like I said. Thank you so much for listening today, Innovative Teachers. We will see you in the next episode.